Hey guys, me here again tonight with another video. The Undertaker versus Triple H at WrestleMania 27. Is it happening? Why is it happening? Should it happen? What's going on? Where's the backstory? All this kind of fun stuff. Why is The Undertaker wrestling Triple H at WrestleMania 27? In a storyline aspect, it makes no sense whatsoever. Both guys were out and have been out for a long time, and now all of a sudden, they're both back the same night, like a minute apart from each other, and they're going to be at WrestleMania 27 against each other. What is that? Is that what's happening? Why is Taker and Triple H wrestling? Let's go backstory a little bit. At WrestleMania 22, The Undertaker was supposed to wrestle Batista as the main event. The Undertaker was going to lose at WrestleMania, was approached to and was asked what would his feelings be if he lost to Dave at WrestleMania 22. Hell, he was originally asked approached about WrestleMania 21 is, what do you think if we let Orton win? And Mark didn't really like that, and they said, oh, okay, fine. At WrestleMania 22, when he was approached about, what do you think about losing at, against Dave? And Mark says, I don't want to lose. I don't want to lose to him. He's not a wrestler. He's a no talent bum. He's just filled with steroids. And he said, what if I don't want to lose? What would happen? Really, what would happen if Undertaker went against Batista, and the match called for Batista to win, and the Undertaker refused? If it actually went into a fight, Undertaker would kick the hell out of Dave Batista. It was also rumored that Undertaker had said that if I have to lose to Dave at Mania, I'm gonna walk my ass to TNA as a fuck you to WWE and Vince McMahon. And it even went as far as that the Undertaker's name in TNA would be the Grim Reaper. Well, I'm not really sure. From what I've heard, the Undertaker actually owns his name, The Undertaker. So if he wanted to, if that's true, he could go to TNA and call himself The Undertaker. But anyways, that's what was supposed to happen. It didn't happen. Taker went against, Mark Henry at Mania 22, I believe. Which was crap match, but, whatever. So, okay. So now it's WrestleMania 27. We could see Taker versus Triple H. But this isn't going to happen. These two guys just do not like each other in real life. They've had a lot of backstage fire and feuds between the two of them. Taker has said that Triple H has been nothing in the past decade. The only reason why he's made it anywhere in the wrestling business higher than what he was is because he's banging the boss's daughter. He's not doing anything else. Triple H is in it for himself and for his friends. He doesn't care about anything else. And it's true, because look what happened when Triple H took control of WWE, pretty much, like almost legitimately took control of WWE and started calling a lot of the shots. What happened? We saw people like Kerwin White. We saw the Dicks, or the Geminis. We saw Simon Dean. We saw a bunch of crap. We saw the Imposter Kane, and damn, I dropped my remote. We saw all these stupid things in 2005 when Triple H, was given a little bit, he could creative control, so to speak. And look now, you see Sheamus, and you see Orton, and you see all of his buddies, seem to get everything, and it's really interesting, and it's really stupid. And Taker's right. Triple H has said Undertaker has been nothing for the past 5 or 6 years. He's been a waste of WWE's money, and he's been a waste of roster space, is what Triple H feels that The Undertaker is. Because he wrestles 3 or 4 months of the year, and then he's gone the rest of the year due to injury or personal problems. And Triple H refuses to lay down for The Undertaker, and The Undertaker refuses to lay down for Triple H. I think there is so much legit hatred between the two of them, I don't think they could be professional enough. But we did see Matt Hardy versus Edge, and even though there's a lot of personal hate between the two of them, one laid down for the other. Triple H has said that he will end Undertaker's streak if he has to go against him at Mania. He will, whether it's supposed to happen or not. And Mark says he won't lose to Triple H. That could be a very volatile situation. It was like WrestleMania 23. We were supposed to see Austin versus Hogan. the megastar of the 80s versus the megastar of the 90s, but the two of them refused to lay down for one another. So the match never happened. Hogan refused to lose to Austin. Austin refused to lose to Hogan. Austin said Hogan was nothing. He was a guy that ripped his shirt and did a leg drop. That's all Hogan was. And really, that's all Hogan really was. And Hogan refused to lose to Austin. I don't even know why, to be honest with you. I guess maybe it was because that somebody else was the main guy, was the global name that everybody knew, and it wasn't Hulk Hogan anymore. I don't know. Triple H versus Taker, I don't know. It's going to be a match that it'll be interesting if it does happen. I hope Taker wins, but I think it's going to be an actual fight. The two of them just do not like each other. There's just this legit hatred between the two of these men that Triple H has been nothing for a decade. Taker's been just taking up space and wasting money for 5 or 6 years. I mean, Taker is all about wrestling, you know. He reminds me of Terry Funk. I swear Mark is going to die in the ring, just like Funk will. You know, years ago, well over a decade ago, a decade and a half ago, I guess, The Undertaker had surgery on his elbow. I think it's his right elbow. Fuck, I can't even see. All my Undertaker figures have 2 elbow pads on. But anyways, one of his elbows, I think it was his right one, he had microscopic surgery on. The story that was released at that time was the fact that he had a match and he had he had bone chip fragments in his elbow, you know, chips, you know, his bone basically broke. And he had to get his elbow basically screwed back together and the chips removed. That's the story that was released at the time. About a decade ago, you know, 5 years or so after that, the story I had heard that a few other people have heard as well from actual people inside the wrestling business had said that's not what exactly happened to The Undertaker. There was no pins and screws, there was no bone chips or bone fragments. That what was apparently found and what surgery was done on him was that there was actually a tumor attached somewhere in this area that was found to be cancerous. Not benign, that he actually had cancer. I've never been able to confirm it. I've never been able to find a legit story about it, just discussions about it. But, I mean, if that was true, you know, and he still wrestled. He lost his wife and pretty much his kids for wrestling because he would not walk away. There are wrestlers that have just this insane amount of passion that will never leave. Kurt Angle lost his wife, lost his kids, busted his neck thousands of times, and that man still comes to the ring and is the best wrestler alive today. You know, there's some guys like that. Steve broke his neck. He was almost paralyzed. He almost died the night before WrestleMania 19, and he still wrestled. He didn't let anybody know. He didn't have doctor's clearance, and he still wrestled. There are just some of those wrestlers that, you know, there's the wrestlers that are here, that, you know what, they're Hall of Fame material. You know, and I don't mean WWE's joke Hall of Fame. I mean actual Hall of Fame material. And then there's the guys that are above that plateau that are in their own Hall of Fame, in their own immortal showcase Hall of Fame that nobody will ever be able to touch. Kurt Angle, nobody will ever touch Kurt Angle. The guy that'll get the closest is AJ Styles. Nobody will ever touch Kurt Angle. Nobody will ever touch The Undertaker. Nobody will ever touch Austin. There are just some of these guys in the wrestling world that made it up past the best. They passed that 100% perfection rate. They passed the best of the best. Somehow they became better than perfection, and nobody will ever beat them. And Undertaker is just one of those guys. And for him to ever lose at Mania would be the biggest slap in the face of him and all the other guys that are like him. What do you guys think?